What's up everybody, this is Corn Beaner. I'm going to call this video Ask the QA Guy. One of my last videos I asked you guys if you guys had any questions about QA testing, because I did a video about an article that pretty much said, QA was lousy and this and that. So I let it be known that I'm a QA tester and this is what I do for a living. I only got one question to that video and I'm going to answer it right now, and hopefully it answers that person's question. And the question comes from Maswell96, and the question is, what type of qualifications did you have to get, and who did you speak to get into your line of work? Well, Maswell96, the qualifications that I had really to speak of when I got into the industry were bare minimal. I had been playing video games for 20 years, going on 20 years. And that's pretty much all that I had, but also had this eye for detail. If I played a game, I can kind of catch certain things about the game that I didn't like, whether it be user interface or textures or graphics or animations, or I've always had this detail for games. I didn't know what it was at the time, and that's what you need to have. You need to have that magic eye, whether it be in games or it be in movies, it really doesn't matter. I've known people get into QA who don't like video games, and or really just movie people, but within, say, like a movie, say in a scene that's made up of different shots, you'll notice maybe one character's hair is different, their pants may be different, the way they're dressed, the way they're combed, the way their makeup is, or the lighting may just be different within that scene because of different shots. These are the kind of details that you need to pay attention to in order to get into QA. The same thing applies to video games. If you notice maybe like a building that's built in the middle of a street somewhere, has really nice textures on three sides, but you go around to a side that nobody's supposed to see and you see ugly textures, that's something that you can talk about in your interview if you're asked about it. Also, just having a general knowledge of video games and what you think may be issues in some of the big games that are out there is another good, nice thing to know. Nobody really cares about high scores and gamer points and trophies and all the other stuff. That's really just empty achievements that people like you and me do because we have nothing better to do with their time and our hobby besides that, but it won't help you get into a job situation. Second part of who did I have to speak to? With my situation personally, I just got lucky. I had applied to a bunch of different companies out here in California, and almost, none of them called me back. Like literally, I spent months and months and months trying to get a QA gig at some of the biggest publishers out here, and got no response, no callbacks, nothing. I finally sent an application to Sony Pictures Mobile when that studio or that department of Sony actually existed about 6 years ago, and I got lucky. A guy by the name of Dave Diaz, the nicest guy you'll ever meet, I believe was his moniker. Dave Diaz called me up for an interview. We talked for a good 30-45 minutes. Pretty much asked me, how did I get into video games? Why do I like video games? What are my favorite video games of all time? And he also asked me what is the biggest issue or the biggest defect that I saw in the game that I just recently played. And little by little, we talked, and I told him, and he was impressed enough to give me the job pretty much right there on the spot. And I started the week after. And to Dave Diaz, thank you very much. I don't think I ever properly thanked you for that opportunity, because that really was like the first stepping stone in my career. And I know I didn't always make your job easy at Sony with my attitude sometimes, but I've grown from that. I've learned from my mistakes, and we'll move on from there. But Dave Diaz, thank you very much. So Maswell, to get back to your question, you have to know somebody in order to get in, or have a tremendous amount of luck to get in. Those are really the two best ways to get into it. The best time to strike if you're trying to do video game QA would be if you live by a publisher or developer that does QA testing. Try to strike right when the new Xbox comes out or the new PlayStation console comes out. The reason I say this is because at this point, to get a QA job, you'll be dealing with people who are out of work like myself, other experienced testers out there who have years of experience testing some of the biggest franchises out there on the 360, PC, PS3. Not to be mean about it, but you really don't stand a chance against people like me or people with similar experience or even more experience. You don't stand a chance against that. But when the new consoles come out, people like me will still be out there. But it's kind of a fresh start for everybody, because nobody is familiar enough with the new hardware. Yes, you're familiar enough with game design and game defects and stuff like that, but for the most part, this is pretty much a clean slate for all testers at this point. At the point of a new generation console, it's a clean slate. I don't know anything about the PS4 that's supposed to rumored to be coming out. I don't know anything about the new Xbox that's rumored to be coming out. So at this point, yes, experience still plays part in my favor, but at the same time, people might think, oh, he's already tainted, he's already molded to the ways of the 360 and the PS3. How is he going to meld to the new systems that are out there? Will he be able to? And is that unknown factor about my experience that allows new people like you to come in? Because I'm like, well, this guy is brand new. He's fresh. He's never seen anything before. We can train him to, to be what we want him to be. And that is your time to strike. So I hope that answers your question. If not, just comment down below or PM me. I'll try to be more descriptive if I can. But those are pretty much the two things I can tell you about if you want to get into qualifications. Again, me, myself, I have bare minimum, but I always had an eye for detail when it came to video games. And that's something that you need to have. It's those attention to details that pay very good dividend when it comes to QA as a whole. And in order to get into the industry, either a tremendous amount of luck, or you have to know somebody in the industry. Within the next year or two, when the new consoles are ready to come out, I would say that would be your best chance to strike. And yeah, I mean, if anybody else has any other questions about, I guess, my experience, what studios I worked for, what games I worked on, or anything else, feel free to ask those questions. I'll do another video answering those questions. And I hope, Maswell, you find this somewhat helpful. Again, if not, just PM me and I'll try to be more descriptive if I can be. Or anybody else, I hope you guys found this helpful. And this has been the QA guy, aka Cornbeaner, and I'll see you guys next time. And take care. Bye.